I got here's our toy spider, and I actually bought two of them because I really think they're cool. But I want to show you the box that I had chosen. This is a photo box, which is just, you put your photos in there that you don't have an album for. Yeah, it's got florals on it, but you know what we're going to do to it. But you got to make sure that that spider is going to fit very, very beautifully right in your box. That is very important. The next thing we're going to be doing today is we're going to be spraying it down. I'm using a black flat. This is number 315 black, and this is also from a dollar store. We are going to spray this box down right. To work outside in a well-ventilated area and spray your props down properly. Now, one of the most common elements about tarantula spiders you need to know is that we need to alter this a little bit. The first thing is that these are really not large enough for me. These are the two, fangs, did you call them that? We need to increase the size of these with some air clay. The next thing is that the markings on some of the tarantula spiders, they all have really beautiful orangey red and some type of like a light kind of a beige colored hair. Lucky for us, the spider is already covered with a velvet on it, but we want to really alter this. Also, what's missing from the spider is the back two pieces that stick out here. And for that, let's begin this tutorial. A little bit of advanced magic today to create the markings on a tarantula. We will be using a titanium white 901, a burnt umber number 925, a naphthol red light number 615, a Chinese red 919, and kind of a hard color to find, but if you can find something close to this type of orange, it's called perma orange number 21. And this is our palette today. I'm also be using a few different types of fan brushes and a nice soft watercolor brush. Okay, let's paint up our tarantula. One of the most common known tarantulas has orange and they have like white hairs and a mixture of whites and browns and blacks. Very commonly known, a lot of them seen in movies and stuff like that, but if you do your research, they come in all kinds of different colors. We got blue tarantulas, there's light gray ones, just a whole entire world of spiders to explore. But today we're going to be mixing up different types of colors to coat our tarantula. The one thing I'd like to do later on is I will put these teeth in separately. So let's do the legs and the body today. First of all, we're going to be mixing up a nice white coating to go over the tarantula. We're using a very, very light form of white over here, and we're just going to be loading up our fan brush. Very, very, very lightly drag it across your spider. What a difference already. You a close-up of that again. Add a little bit more. We are adding the fur. So let's do that now to all the legs and see what that looks like. Okay, there's a big difference there, bringing our spider alive. Okay, now let's start working on the legs. The main thing to know is we need to mix up the proper colors for our spider. So if we're going to start off, let's start putting down a bit of a light brown mixed with our burnt umber. So we're doing 1 part white and 1 part burnt umber here in a mixture. We are very, very lightly going to tap some of the leg parts here. So once we get our brush loaded up, let's put the color on. It's very important to know that the color is always around like the knee part of each of the spider's legs here. So let's just put that in. Coming more and more alive every time you add a layer of color. Very important to know, I had finished off the leg parts. I also added a little bit of that color into the spider's abdomen and the upper part over here very softly. Now let's add another layer of color information to the legs. Now I'm going to show you how I created the markings color that would be on the tarantula. I mixed in a bit of our Naphthol red, a bit of Chinese red, and our perma orange with a tad bit of our burnt umber together. We can even make that a little bit darker. Right there. And we're going to be using our fan brush today, and we are going to put that color on. Okay, let's charge up our brush. Tap off excess. I'm going to create the same type of hairs we would find on the spider. And let's begin to add that color. Dang, that comes alive. I'm going to be doing all 8 of the legs, just below the light brown that we put on there. For the final bit, we want to use the same color that we have. We want to pull some white into the mixture as for highlights. Your spider should begin to look like this. Okay, let's start building the 2 front fangs and also the back pieces. Okay, and today using air-dried clay. If you want to know what brand I'm using today, I'm using a brand called Amos air-dried clay. It's made in Korea. You can find it on most sites like Amazon or any type of craft store that carries that brand. There are other types of brands, but I highly recommend this one because it's flexible and I just love it and it dries very quickly. I had made the end piece and the fangs. We're going to let these now dry for 24 hours and then we're going to apply them to our tarantula. Boom! Just 24 hours later, I had let the clay dry. I put on the fangs with some hot glue and also the tail piece. Our tarantula is looking like a tarantula. Now I'm going to just paint the two pieces and we'll move on to the next step. Now once we have our tarantula set, we need to give it its home. Put them together. It's going to look really great. First thing we need to do now is age the box that it's in. So let's move on to the second part of our tutorial. Creating an antique looking specimen box. Are you ready? Good. And today is the aging for our box. We'll be taking our box to a whole new level. Today's palette consists of a 901 titanium white, a number 995 silver, and just a dash of burnt umber number 925, and all three colors are alpha acrylics. Let's get this going. Our first layer of paint now is to mix up our white, adding a dash of silver in there to create a gray coating, and also a little tiny bit of our, there it is. Let's get a little bit more silver in there. There it is. Well, let's apply this to our box. First application to our box is going to look like this. Now with a soft wet towel, work it in. Creating a faux finish. Let that dry. Check out the finish. Look at that. Antiqued, and it looks like it's made of metal. Love it. Okay, let's go on to step 2. And our next level of building our tarantula box is more difficult. Today you'll be needing a sheet of OHP plastic, which is overhead projector style plastic, which is soft, as you can see here, and then some type of black plastic. I can get this at any type of craft store. You can see my fingers disappear completely behind it for reflective qualities. A pair of good quality scissors, an Echo blade, a permanent magic marker, and this is floral foam, which is lightweight and can be used to prop up the back part of our reflective plastic. Okay, let's go. In our next segment here, I had cut out 2 windows the exact same size as our box. I also had used our floral foam to create 2-inch deep mounts for the black plastic, which will go on there, and also the clear plastic will go on top of the edge of our box. Now you may need to trim the size down a little bit. Today we're going to get our hot glue gun and we're going to mount our 4 stands into the box, and then we're going to put our black plastic in there first, our spider, and the glass on top. So let's do that now. Once we get our floral foam all glued in there, it just took a moment to put the hot glue in there, we're now going to cut and trim our black plastic down to set right on top of the floral foam. And once we get our black plastic cut to size, we need to hot glue that down. We also need to place our tarantula slightly higher up above here, create a specimen label, and 2 more components is to put on our glass and create a frame for our box. Let's do that. Once you get your tarantula in the box, that glued in there beautifully. All I had done is put a little bit of hot glue on the abdomen and let it cool. Okay, now let's create a really cool scientific label to go down here. The next part of the video is how to make a label. I had used Irifam and a bit of photoshopping and created a label, and I'm now using some burnt umber number 624, and we are going to age this label down. There's many different ways of aging labels. Most people say you use coffee grounds and other materials, but for myself as a prop maker, I have found that burnt umber number 624 works very well. Once you get it to the desired aging that you want, we're just going to let this set and dry. Once it is dry, we'll put it in our spider box. Once our label is dry, I used a hair dryer to speed this up and also wrinkle it a little bit more. I'm using a glue stick today to apply this, and we're going to be applying it underneath the tarantula. Maybe I can put this underneath there quite nicely. Wow. Takes a little bit of practice. There, that looks good. As you can see, I'm using the pair of tweezers here too. Now for our next level of our spider today, I am using a clear transparent glue because I'm working with a clear transparent plastic, and it will dry quite nicely. And this takes a little bit of practice to put these on here, but once we do it, it'll be very nice. And don't worry about the glue because you're using a transparent on a transparent. I want to make sure. There it is. Takes a little bit of practice. Bingo. Got it. Now let that dry. We'll move on. Once we get our glass on there, if you can see I've already started on some of the areas, we want to actually brush a little bit more of the clear glue onto our glass. I am using just a ragged brush that I had, and this is going to age and frost the glass a bit, especially on the corners. Once you get your foam frame pieces cut out, and you can see that they're on a bevel edge over here, using the same color technique as I had done on the box. Today I'll be painting these down, letting them dry, and then hot gluing them on to our frame, and we are in the home stretch. Let's do it right now. Now on to creating one of the most freakiest and coolest props for your haunted house, mad scientist laboratory, or your own personal curiosity shop. Gothfully yours, Professor M.